A church that is addicted to loudspeakers is not different from a tout that is addicted to cocaine, because they both make use of what is going to damage their bodies. If your speakers are too loud, you are not worshiping God. You are making noise. When you are making noise, you are committing two offenses. Number one, you are disturbing your neighbor. Number two, you are damaging your own ears. And who knows, maybe that's the reason the angels leave your church so early, because your noise is too much. In today's video, I'm going to answer the question, how loud should your speakers be? This video is inspired by the churches around me. Shalom to you, my friends. If you're new to this channel, it's nice meeting you. My name is Isaac from Trego Studios, and on this channel we do blah 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 blah. If you want to learn more, just watch this video up here. Alright, so down to today's video. How loud should your speakers be, or how loud should your loudspeakers be? Research says anything at 70 dB or less is safe for the human ears. By the way, dB stands for decibels. It's the unit of measurement for sound loudness. That is, if you want to calculate how loud a sound is, you calculate it in terms of decibels. Anything beyond 70 decibels can damage the human ears. So how loud is 70 decibels? An example I can give you is the noise generated by washing machine or your dishwasher. A washing machine produces a noise that's as loud as 70 decibels. So when you're trying to reference the loudness of your speaker, reference it to that of the sound that is produced by a washing machine. Or you can also download Android applications for measuring sound loudness. There are many free applications online for measuring sound loudness. There are different factors that can control the loudness of your speakers. Number one is the venue. That is, are you indoors or you're outdoors? Because sound travels in a straight line, it reflects off every object it encounters on its way. So in a closed environment, sound tends to be louder, or your speaker tends to be louder than in an outdoor environment, because it's going to be reflecting off the walls, the ceiling, and then the ground, whether it is tiles or it is wooden or it is concrete. All of these things reflect sounds, except you are in an environment that is acoustically treated to absorb sound. So when you are in an indoor environment, a little boost of your volume is going to be really exaggerated. So you have to be cautious when you are in an indoor environment. Be gentle with the way you make use of the volume knob. On the other hand, you don't have trouble with reflections when you are in an outdoor environment, because it's an open space, you almost don't have objects reflecting. However, you're going to have problem with people farther away from the speakers hearing you, because sound tends to become quieter the farther they travel. Another thing that can affect the loudness of your loudspeakers is the equipment you're using. Different equipments have different capacity. I mean, your amplifiers and speakers have different capacity. So the higher the capacity of your equipment, then the louder it can get. But the fact that your equipment can get as loud as possible does not mean you should make it as loud as it can go. That is not right. It is not fair. It is not good. In fact, it is ungodly. There is an important rule I think every church should follow. One important rule every church should follow, and that is, make your loudspeakers as loud as your audience can hear you. And that means even if your audience can hear you without the loudspeakers, then don't use it. If you're a media director, tell your pastor that you don't need it. As long as the people they are speaking to can hear them, you don't need it. I mean, you are just staying in your church and I can hear your speaker as far as 100 meters away from your church. That is not right. For God's sake, having loudspeakers in your church when you don't need it is not a sign of God's blessings. It's a sign of worldly craziness. You don't have to use speakers because every other church is using speaker. You only have to use what you need. Use what you need, not what others are using. But if you know that your church cannot do without the loudspeakers, then make it as loud as everyone in the auditorium can hear you without damaging their ears. So how do you achieve this? You make sure the person farthest away from the speaker can hear the speaker, but not at the expense of damaging the ears of those that are close to the speakers. So your goal is to satisfy both the person close to the speaker and those that are far from the speakers. For you to find this sweet spot, you would have to adjust the position of your speakers and the volume knobs of your equipment. But please don't try to crank up the volume knob of your equipment just because you are trying to satisfy those that are farther from the speakers. You may be favoring those that are farther from the speaker, but another thing you should be conscious of is that you're also exposing your equipment to damage. If you find yourself having to turn up the knob on your equipment to the maximum so that everyone can hear you, then I think it's better you upgrade your sound system. So in conclusion, how loud should your speakers be? As loud as your audience can hear you without damaging their ears. In some countries, there are limitations as to how loud your sound should be, But in a country like this, where everyone is free to make their sound as loud as possible, be careful. Don't damage your church members' ears, especially if your pastor does not have anointing to heal deaf ears. Thank you for staying to the end of this video. Until I come your way another time with a new video, remain in the Lord's service. God bless you.